Greetings and the best of salutations. There would be prayer, peace, power, prosperity, and patience, collective responsibility. Collective responsibility. First thing comes to mind is a identity crisis. Second thing comes to mind is a collective consciousness. The third thing comes to mind is duty. That which is prior to duty is order, meaning that I put the duty before the order when it comes to collective responsibility and collective consciousness of a identity that is in crisis. Before anything manifests itself, it must first have order. When there is order, then there is duty. When there is duty, then there is responsibility. Then there is a aim. We look at the identity crisis of people trying to find their place of belonging and to identify who they are, what is their purpose in life, and how to go about achieving it. The aim is the goal. It's, some athletic fields cause some game it called a field goal. The field of play is the goal. You kick something through the car. You kick a something that has been manufactured, that which is of value through the goal, but they call it upright. That's the car, the upright. And some fraternities give it a certain sign. It's the car, it's the upright. We're talking about one's aim is uprightness, uprightness, being upright. That's why it says in Islam, which is a universal sincerity, religion is sincerity. We know allegiance, we know that what you make your allegiance with, but whatever how you want to say and use these terms, there is a aim, man. That is accountability, man. Upright. Make the connections. Car. And some people do it this way. That's guide us on the straight path. The aim. There is a term called wala da alim. Dala. Dala. They got something called the Holy Dhamma. But the Dala, which means what you are aiming for. What are you aiming for? The ad da alim. If I'm using this correctly, what I'm trying to get, but that which you are aiming for, you, and then the collective associated with the collective identity and the collective consciousness, those who missed that they were aiming for went astray. Went astray, man. Because this creation we know is a learning environment, but we are to be responsible. That is the favor that has been shown to us, to be responsible with this creation as a collective responsibility, as a collective consciousness, and as a collective identity. So, if you have went your own individual way, without understanding the importance of merging the individual with the collective, which the individual is the sum total of the whole, and if you don't realize that, then we have what is called an identity crisis. So then, therefore, instead of being responsible, we become irresponsible, which makes us become very irrational and very hostile. It is says, does autonomy forbid unity? Now, some people think that because the is it wrong? I stop right there. Or inappropriate for us to meet and work together and make agreements and hold each other accountable to anything at any level? Do we think that the individual is more important to the collective? Do we think, and do we behave, and do we act in a manner, in a way that it is about the individual rather than the collective? What has deviated us from thinking in a manner, in a way that is all about the individual identity rather than the collective identity? And how do we merge the individual with the collective, or should we teach the individual that it is about the collective. For example, you take on your parents' last name and you go out and do something that you should have not done. You missed the mark, the aim. You deviated, and it tarnishes the family name. So it is more so important about the collective identity and the collective consciousness and the collective responsibility. Now we all must be responsible for his or her own actions that he or she takes. But what will make one go out on his or her own accord if the collective identity, the collective consciousness, the collective responsibility is already in place and you want to be your own individual? That is something to think about. Unless the individual saw something that which was not being, which that which was being um, shared or expressed, but it wasn't being practiced. That the individual wanted to control the thinking, the minds, and the masses of the people. Wanted him or her to be subjected to them, under their control, under their rule. Who is a regulator of one's affairs? Only you yourselves, we ourselves, as an individual. Because all affairs that we do will return back to us. It says that all affairs will return back to the Creator. Now, if someone creates an unhealthy environment, a toxic environment, what you think is going to come back, and that what you think you're going to have to deal with is that what you created. Some will call that karma, you know, and you place a comma in the sentence. Yes. So, what is this expression is all about? It's about the assurance of proper guidance. It is the assurance of continue to meditate, pray, and reflect to be guided on the right path. It is to complement the collective responsibility, the collective consciousness, the collective identity in cooperating and coexisting one with another for the development of one's intellect, for the betterment of humanity. And therefore, it is also associated with cooperative economics. So we incorporate the collective responsibility, the collective identity, and the collective consciousness in being guided in the right way, in a proper way, and therefore it becomes a corporation, something that we incorporate into our economy. In the manner and way in which we use our energy, our time, and our resources. That serve as a benefit for the development of our intellect in the best of ways. To be good stewards over the faculties in the use of our limbs. And be not consumed by that which will corrupt and contaminate when it comes to neglecting the responsibility and understanding the importance that family, community life in its journey is one of human excellence. So if there is a going astray, you missed the target. It is called in the Hebrew sense shatah, to miss the mark. When it comes to the collective responsibility, the collective identity, and the collective consciousness that you have gave up your universal identity for a national identity. That oneness is stronger than conflict and unity is stronger than diversity. To miss the mark is to miss and to be irresponsible with the collective responsibility, the collective consciousness, the collective identity of accountability. We don't want to be accountable, so that which we must give account. You go to the bank, you open up a bank account, and you can bank on one's natural development of one's natural ability. And when one comes in and interrupt one's natural ability, there is something that is outside of the collective responsibility that is banking that you be irresponsible, but being accountable one for another. And therefore, that group of people of spirit is ruling and benefiting by creating fear and division. So, something or someone, whatever you want to call it, whatever it may be, It's banking on you being irresponsible with your time, your energy, your resources, your nature. And when you become irresponsible, and you go outside the laws of the natural development of one's ability in his evolving process, then therefore they have what is called the prison industrial system. Banking on you doing something foolish or being irresponsible with your time, your energy, in your nature. All affairs return to Allah. All affairs return to God. Whatever you call. Your affairs, what you do, turn back to you. It turns back to us. In the manner and way in which we treat one another. That's a serious bill, man. So many have been so beat down in the society in which we live, have went astray, because those who have known the knowledge and the information, they went astray, they misused it because they're banking on you being ignorant, or being ignorant and manipulating our circumstances, of being at odds with one another. They're banking on that. They are benefiting from that. So they create what is called an industrial banking system. Banking on that. And then if you continue to be educated, trained to think in the manner, in a way that they want you to continue this foolishness, they will judicially reinforce that with a educational system banking on that you will be irresponsible with the use of your faculties, banking on that you cannot think for yourself. That you cannot think within the limits of your own perception when it comes to the collective, when it comes to community life. Proprietors outside come in on the inside. It's banking that when we give money or to whomever, it empowers them. Banking on it. Wherever the carcass is, the eagles will gather. So, who created this prison industrial system? Who created this prison prison and industrial system, this prison banking system, this prison educational system? For what purpose? And what do we go there for? Is it to teach us ethics? What about the political system? Banking on your ignorance. Banking on all of us being at odds with one another. Banking on it. Banking on us of being individuals rather than operating and thinking as a collective. I'm talking about in a upright manner, man. And what shares are we holding, and what shares do we have in this? What percentage do we have in this? Are we benefiting from that? The ignorant? No. And you go around representing a particular political party. And what shares do you have? What shares do the masses of people have there? Banking on it. So-called bougies, whatever you want to call them. I ain't trying to label nobody, really. But look at it. Look at the affairs. Look at what is being put out, and look how it's returning. Promissory note, a check, come back void. We have heard something to that effect before. Whether you be Mason, Hebrew, Israelite, Muslim, Christian, Jew, Circle 7, can't think of the name, 5%ers. We have to stop playing games and manipulating the minds of the people and banking on the manipulation of the minds of the people. Thought manipulation, mind control. Well, I will end with what I like in this passage of the Al Fatiha, which is also considered to be the Lord's Prayer. The Lord, that which rules over you, this evolutionary process, Lord Rabbah, that which teaches. I like it. Makes sense. I don't promote any religion. I just promote the value of self-worth. But if it's clear, it makes sense. It makes sense. It says, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Master of the day of requital. Thee do we serve. Thee do we beseech for help. Guide us on the right path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, not those upon whom wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray. The wrong that we do is the wrong that will return upon us. Suspicious of one another. What brought about this suspicion? Wrongdoings. Wrongdoings. The potential that has been planted in us, the seed of potential, may it be manifested in practical ways. It's freedom, justice, and equality. And know that the favor that is invested in us is having to do with the potential and the capability that we have to be good stewards over this which have been created. But there must be an aim, and that aim must be accountability when it comes to the collective responsibility, the collective consciousness, and the collective identity. That knowledge, that favor that is bestowed upon us in practical ways, by way of our deeds, by way of our actions. So therefore, one must be sincere. Not in the sense of sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. As Dr. King says, there's nothing more dangerous than that. That we are the best of all communities. It's time for us to live up to it as humans. For the good of all people. Global. Global citizenship. And the open enemy is when we are unable to control our instincts. And he rests. Reset, rest, is a realignment and balance. Not too much logic, not too much emotion. Balance. Male, female, left, right, yin, yang. Balance is the key to life. There's a sister that sung a song. Harmony is the key for my sisters and brothers. I believe that was Gladys Knights. Gladys Knights and the Pips. That is the correct interpretation of the universe, the stars, the moon, and the sun. Harmony, a collective identity, a collective consciousness, a collective responsibility, cooperative or incorporated unto economics. Egalitarianism. Until next time, talk to you.